People think free time is something we're supposed to enjoy. No deadlines, no pressure, no one expecting anything from you. And yet, when it finally arrives, something feels off. You sit down, you scroll, you wait. But instead of relief, there's emptiness, sometimes even discomfort. You tell yourself, I should do something, I should rest, I should enjoy this, but nothing feels right. This is one of the most confusing experiences, having time, but no desire, when wanting disappears. Most people assume that when you're not motivated, it means you don't care anymore. But that's not always true. Often, motivation doesn't disappear because you stopped wanting. It disappears because wanting became too expensive. Every desire requires energy, attention, presence, and when the nervous system is overloaded, it starts cutting off anything non-essential. Not because it's broken, but because it's protecting itself. In psychology, this is often connected to emotional exhaustion and nervous system shutdown. Not a collapse, not a breakdown, a quiet withdrawal. Why rest doesn't feel good anymore. Here's the part people don't talk about. Free time creates space, and space brings awareness. When life slows down, the things you've been avoiding start surfacing. Unfinished emotions, unanswered questions, a sense of being behind, a feeling that something isn't aligned. So, instead of resting, your system stays alert. You scroll not because you're bored, but because boredom feels unsafe. Stillness invites reflection. Reflection invites discomfort. So the brain chooses distraction, not pleasure, distance. You're not unmotivated, you're overstimulated. Motivation doesn't grow in pressure, it grows in safety. But when your system has been under constant demand, even subtle demand, free time doesn't register as rest, it registers as uncertainty. What should I do now? What if I waste this? What if I still feel empty after? So, you freeze. From the outside, it looks like doing nothing. Inside, it feels like waiting for a signal that never comes. The mistake people make. This is where people start blaming themselves. They force routines. They chase productivity. They turn rest into another task, but forcing enjoyment doesn't create it. And discipline doesn't fix exhaustion, because the issue isn't lack of structure. It's lack of recovery, and recovery isn't about time off. It's about nervous system regulation. Why scrolling feels easier than choosing. Choosing requires engagement. Scrolling doesn't. When you choose an activity, you commit to being present. When you scroll, you stay half absent. That's why free time often turns into hours online. Not because you enjoy it, but because it asks nothing from you. It keeps you occupied without asking you to feel. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you feeling empty in your free time. Doesn't mean you're broken. It means your system hasn't fully recovered from being on for too long. Joy doesn't return on command. Desire doesn't respond to pressure. They come back when the system feels safe enough to want again. The pause before desire returns. There's often a quiet phase before motivation comes back. A neutral phase, a flat phase. A nothing excites me yet phase. Most people panic here. They assume they're losing themselves. But this pause isn't the end. It's a reset. A system that's learning how to feel without being overwhelmed. You don't need to fill the emptiness. This is the hardest part. You don't fix this by filling every moment. You don't fix it by optimizing your time. Sometimes you let the emptiness exist without immediately trying to escape it. Not to analyze it, not to solve it, just to let your system realize nothing bad is happening. That slowness is allowed. That stillness doesn't mean danger. Free time isn't the problem isn't that you have time. The problem is that your nervous system hasn't caught up to the fact that it's finally allowed to rest. And until it does, free time may feel empty instead of peaceful. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you've been holding too much for too long.